Hey everybody, welcome to my next book review. So this book review is for another Percy Jackson book, which is Percy Jackson and the Wraith of the Triple Goddess. I know in the past videos I have not been saying the right title, so I'm correcting it now. It is the Wrath of the Triple Goddess, not Triple-Headed Goddess. I don't know how many times in the past few videos I've done it, but this is a first 5 review star of this year. Like, technically. I think I had one other, but I really enjoyed this book. I now consider it like one of my top 5 favorite books I've read. I really enjoyed the book, loved the plot, loved like the tie-ins. I think I should also give a warning of a spoiler warning before we go on. But if you don't know, I'm also a big Epic the Musical fan, and just seeing the difference between how the portrayal of Cersei's Island from back then till this book, and Epic is such a variety. Now, a lot of artists will have a different interpretation of Greek mythology, and you can see that both in Rick Riordan's book series and Jorge Rivera Herene's Epic the Musical. But I still laugh to this day, and yes, they did bring it up. Instead of being turned into pigs, they get turned into guinea pigs. The fact that they tied in both series, tied in the memory of Cersei's Island, and just saying like, oh yeah, you weren't there for it, Grover. You were kidnapped by a Cyclops. It is such an interesting tale, but that was not the main focus of this book. The main focus was the taking care of Hecate's animals, which was a hellhound and a polecat. I have never heard of a polecat until now, when I first read the book. I'm like, oh, that is interesting. Also, if you don't know, in Greek mythology, names have meaning. I just like, oh, those are interesting names. Gale's a normal name. Hepkua is, I don't know what that is, but that seems normal. No. What I love is like, oh yeah, let me explain later on in the book, or when these animals escape and they find them, why those names matter. I love that. First it was Hecate turned Hecuba into a hellhound after the Trojan War, I believe. After losing all her kids, and Annabeth going back to like researching about these two names were a good place for after Percy trying to find and grab both these animals, and then Annabeth explaining why these names and these places seem to matter. And Gale being transformed into a polecat. I think I don't remember why she was turned into polecat, but she was an alchemist, potion maker back in the ancient days, and she was known to be smelly. So what ties in, like, there is a reason why I'm explaining this, is because I love that stories. The reason behind what these creatures, backstories, what happened to them beforehand mattered, or what happened to them in the book, and having the Cersei Island plotline seem to matter a lot in this series. Because if you didn't know, Gale was kidnapped and their smell was turned into a perfume by these 4 witches. 2 of them worked alone. 2 of them were twins. And Percy and Grover tried going to look for them by themselves. The 2 people that worked alone, one got paralyzed, the other got demoralized. But it was relevant to the plot because it's better to work together than work alone. And I just like this story for any age is a good series. And the reason why I love this book was because not only did it plot driven, character like flashbacks, not really flashbacks, but flashbacks to what previous books and other things just made me really happy. I'll talk about it in another video what my top 5 favorite books are, because I have read a lot of books in my life. I was an English minor in college, and I took a lot of classics, ancient Greek classes in college. Also, by the way, I'm still getting used to this camera because I have moved my camera. It used to be on top of my PC. It's now on a mount because that's how I do my other videos. But this book gave me a lot of enjoyment. That's why I rated 5 stars. I am excited. I have a lot of favorite quotes from this book, but I'll give you my top 3 and my most honorable mention. Yes, I do have a list. If you guys ever want to know more of what's on this list, I can share with you guys. But I really enjoyed this book series. This book series. So let me find the post. Because I posted this last week on Tome. I'm on Tome, Stoppy Bookshelf, just like my YouTube, my Instagram. I'll start off with number 3, then I go up to 1. So the first favorite quote is on page 249 of Wrath of Triple Goddess, which is Adora sighed, "What was I thinking? A magic school. Can you imagine such a thing?" So if you don't know, I'm also a Harry Potter fan. Don't support the author. Just love the art / media of Harry Potter. I'm like, is that just taking a jab at Harry Potter or other schools? Like, for instance, I have read the King Chronicles, so it could be a jab at the Brooklyn School, which is for the Egyptian gods. But it's just like, it's funny because if you, it is a semi-spoiler of that quote, but Adora is a nymph that's helping out Percy in this, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering the names, but it's her character just, I understand where she's coming from. Like, Adora, what I found out later in this book was that she used to work for Hecate. She ran the school with her, because Hecate ran a school for over a century ago, but it was closed down because not a lot of people were interested in magic. And the fact that it shows relationships and also character-driven stories and backstories of a lot of these characters that we met, which I believe there's one more book after this, which I am sad, but I am excited to read other books from other authors. After finishing 2 books I currently have, I'll be going on to the next. But my second favorite quote comes from page 41 of this book, and it is, "But if that knowledge turns you into a flaming purple armadillo, don't come crying to me." I just laughed at that quote because it's like, oh yeah, knowledge. This is when Percy and Grover and Annabeth are first in the Hecate's mansion, and it's just like, oh yeah, if you get too much knowledge, you'll turn into this. I'm like, that is funny. But I loved it because it just gives them like, hey, this is a warning. Do not disturb my things. Because the mansion was big. It used to be a school. But I loved it because it's like, oh my gosh, you can actually imagine what he'll be turning into, which also foreshadows something that happens later on in the book, which is funny to me still. And I didn't realize that until now. But my number one favorite quote is, "One of us always speaks the truth," said the horse. "One of us always lies," says the lion. And now this is my favorite part of this. That's not part of the quote, by the way. I was about to say, wait, I know this riddle. The dog chimes in, and one of us always says something completely random. Rutabaga! By the way, the horse, the lion, and the dog are doorknobs to the school. And I'm like, I just laughed because this is not a one-off scene with the doorknobs. Like, you can hear, like, Percy, who's the eye who's the main character, who's also the point of view that we're reading from, pretty much just like, is like, oh yeah, I know this riddle, which is because one of us tells the truth, one of us tells the lie is usually a common riddle I've seen in multiple books. I've seen it with the goddess Juno, or Janus, who is the two-faced god, who one side will tell the truth, the other side will tell the lie. But I find it interesting they went in 3 instead of 2 and have the out of random say completely something different. Like, I've seen it multiple times in the book, and it's just not a one-off, which I loved. Rutabaga. And finally, the honorable mention for the quote is, "She puffed her fur, then she farted angrily." This is in reference to Gale, who I mentioned earlier is a polecat, who's very smelly. I can just imagine her just puffing out her fur. I still don't know what a polecat looks like, but I can see her doing it angrily with a like it's like a pout such, but like the fur must have been smelly. She's angry. I forgot what Percy was saying, but just these quotes pretty much mattered. But this book pretty much is a 5-star read for me because of the memories and also how I can easily remember what happens in the book and just the characters and just the new characters we find out more from. As someone who's been a fan of Percy Jackson since near creation of the book series, this book read of Wrath of the Triple Goddess just brings it home and has so much nostalgia from this, from the first series. So the next video I'll be doing will be the March review, or what I'm reading next, which is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I am excited for. I have started reading it. I'm on chapter 4 something. I was reading it like last week, and I read some of it this morning. But I'm excited to finish reading it so I can get on to Sunrise on the Reaping. And yes, I have read the other, like the original series, but I'll talk more about it when we do the book review of the Songbird of Ballad. The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I keep on forgetting the word ballad. I'm sorry. But thank you again. See you next time. Peace out.